It's Sunday, August the 4th. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray. This is your Sunday weather briefing video, and it's an important one because of Tropical Storm Debby will be Hurricane Debby before making landfall tomorrow in the Florida Big Bend area. And we've got the satellite picture here tonight, the infrared satellite imagery, showing something happening in the last hour and a half or so. That boiled shrimp, the formation is starting to take shape here as the convection begins to increase near the center of Tropical Storm Debby. It was slightly stronger on the 10 p.m. advisory, recording this tonight just before midnight for you to consume on Sunday morning. I think it'll be stronger in the morning, probably. I wouldn't be surprised to see it be a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm. We do not have a Hurricane Hunter plane in the storm right now, but one is tasked to be on site around sunrise and another around 7 a.m. Central Time. So we should be getting continuous fixes during the morning hours tomorrow, and that's very important. But you can see this deep convection on the infrared satellite imagery, and that tells us that this system is intensifying. You can check off the list. The environment around the tropical cyclone is very moist. There's no dry air anywhere nearby. The wind shear is low. Upper levels of the atmosphere, we've got an anticyclone. Divergence beginning to happen. We'll see good outflow. Got this trough to the north, this weakness in the upper pattern that's going to turn it. As you can see, the National Hurricane Center path, our official track, is overlain here. It shows it coming on shore during the morning hours on Monday as a Category 1 hurricane. I'll be leaving in the morning early, going to Perry, Florida, there in the Florida Big Bend, and we'll experience the hurricane from there. Now, they've had very strong conditions all night tonight in South Florida. They had a tornado warning. We'll see that in just a second. As a matter of fact, let's do this. Let me swap what we're looking at here. Kind of clear this off. There's the track. You see this weird bend as the upper level ridge to the north begins to push it back to the west by early in the week, and we could see a landfall in the Carolina coast, South Carolina coast there. And so we're going to talk about that in a minute. But right now we need to get it inland. The impacts for Alabama are going to be minimal. We're going to have gusty winds out of the north-northeast across the southern quarter of the state, really from about Clanton south and east. That's really about all we'll have. A few light showers, a few showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two over southeast Alabama, too, in the wiregrass later today, tonight, certainly into tomorrow. But no watches or warnings for us. Along the beaches of Alabama and northwest Florida, an offshore wind. The surf will not be extreme, 2 to 4 feet, but we will deal with higher than normal rip currents, especially from Destin to the east. The beaches of 30A, Panama City, Mexico Beach, St. Joe Beach, St. George Island, these areas are going to have high rip current risk starting later today and tonight, and into tomorrow. They'll continue really into Tuesday. Now, here are the wind advisories, the surge advisories from the National Hurricane Center. We have a hurricane warning in effect for the Florida Big Bend area for these counties right here. Storm surge warning along the coast. We'll see the peak surge in a minute. The peak surge is 4 to 7 feet. I think from Yankeetown to the mouth of the Ancilla River, there east of St. Mark's. We'll look at that more closely in a minute, but we got a storm surge warning here. All these areas are going to have storm surge above normally dry ground, 1 to 7 feet, and really along the whole west coast of Florida. This is the hurricane warning. These are tropical storm warnings, the areas in yellow. They go all the way down to the Keys, all along the Florida west coast. A little bit inland, we've got a tropical storm watch in effect, and a little bit of a tropical storm watch in effect for the upper Keys really the middle keys there. The cone of uncertainty. Remember what this is. This is really, 60% of the average track error from the National Hurricane Center over time. And this is where the center might end up. This is not where the impacts are going to be. The impacts are going to be felt outside a wide area, outside this cone. You saw on the satellite how the rain and storms extended very far to the east and north of the center. Certainly the stronger winds do too. But this cone shows where that center could end up. And you can see all bets are off. By the time we get to late Monday into Tuesday, it could literally be anywhere. The GFS actually brings it back to the west eventually. Will that happen? We don't really know. We'll kind of see how that goes. Let's take the cone off. Let's kill the alerts here, and let's go to the MRMS and take a peek at the radar. This is the composite radar over the past several hours. And I'm going to show you a different view of this in just a minute. But you can see from all the different radars, rain all the way from Havana, north coast of Cuba, to the west of Key West. The center's out here somewhere. Rain filling in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. We've got heavy rain on the peninsula and outer bands all the way over here to Miami and Fort Lauderdale and places like that. This is the off of GR Earth. Let me kind of get that pulled up over here. You can see the radar loop over the past few hours, and you can see the center is probably somewhere about right here. These are the isobars showing, roughly where the center is. Tropical storm force gusts right now at Key West International. They've had a peak wind gust to 43 knots, which would be 50 miles an hour. Right now they're gusting to 37 knots, or about 43 miles an hour. At the Naval Air Station, their current gust is 37 knots, which of course would be 43 miles an hour. Their peak wind is also that 43 miles an hour. They've got light rain there. The elevation at the Naval Air Station is 7 feet. If you follow this loop, though, you can see a little earlier this evening there was a tornado warning there just north of Miami, severe thunderstorm warning near and west of Clewiston, another severe thunderstorm warning over here by West Palm Beach. They had a 73 mile per hour wind gust at Port Everglades. So these outer bands mean business. Some of the stronger winds have been well to the northeast, which of course indicates to us it's still a very disorganized storm. We're not surprised by that at this point. Let's kind of get into things here a little bit, and let's let you know what we're thinking on the track. These are the European tracks right here off the ensembles, showing all the different iterations, all the different model runs that show where the storm could be. The European brings it further inland. That would be a different track right there, a little further west, a little weaker. The deterministic's certainly been weaker. We'll see how that goes. The GFS ensembles continue to make this parabolic turn, and then this quick turn back to the north. The deterministic GFS at 18Z, 1 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, actually brings it back to the west toward Alabama. These are the main models, and you can see they're pretty tightly clustered there in the Florida Big Bend area. So, we have pretty high confidence that that's where the storm is going to make landfall Monday morning, probably sometime between 6 a.m. and noon. The hurricane models are kind of all over the place with intensities, but most of them were still in that strong tropical storm force department. This is just surface winds right here. I wanted to show you the intensity guidance, though, and this is what that looks like. Some of the guidance gets it up category 1, almost category 2. A lot of it's still in tropical storm force, but when I look at what's going on, It's a big system. It doesn't have a tight core at this point. It needs that in order to rapidly intensify. But that rapid intensification is not out of the question. As a matter of fact, the ship's model, the various scenarios, 24 hours, 36 hours, 30 knots, etc. Those probabilities of rapid intensification are pretty high. 50, 60%, 4 to 8 times climatology. So, it's over very warm water, 30 to 31 degrees Celsius. The oceanic heat content, the combination of the water temperatures and the depth in the ocean is not quite as high. It's real high right there on the north coast of Cuba. But the further it gets out in the Gulf, that oceanic heat content is not quite as good. But, all factors lead to intensification, except the fact that the system is sort of big and lumbering and doesn't have that intense core. We'll be watching very carefully for signs of that through the overnight hours. Now, here's the Hurricane Center graphics. I want you to see those. And let me get to that real quick. I'm going to pull that over here where I can see it a little better. This is the official track, the 10 p.m. advisory. Top winds were up to 45 miles an hour. You can see the center there now, west-southwest of Key West. It is expected to continue moving to the north-northwest overnight. By 8 p.m. Later tonight, Sunday night, it'll be west of Tampa, should become a hurricane by early Monday. So sometime late Sunday night, it's going to become a hurricane, make landfall Monday morning in the hurricane warning area here on the Florida coast, on the Big Bend area, as we saw. It'll weaken, of course, as it does. Now, the official track carries it, up into southern Georgia, curves it to the east. It emerges there from the, on the Georgia coast there near Brunswick, and then, may have a chance to strengthen again. Now, if the Hurricane Center track is right, it probably won't become a hurricane. But, there have been other tracks that have carried it up the coast, past Charleston, past Myrtle Beach to Wilmington. That could happen. This forecast by the time we get past the weekend is not, really very high confidence for sure. Surges have always, of course, the thing we're primarily concerned about. And now surge is expected to be 6 to 10 feet. You remember earlier on Saturday, we were talking, 3 to 7 feet. And now we're talking 6 to 10 feet with a large area of 4 to 6 feet. So everything there, from the Ocklawakanee River, I love pronouncing these names, the Ocklawakanee River, to the Osceola, 4 to 6 feet, 3 to 5 feet back to Indian Pass, then, 4 to 7 feet down to Yankeetown. That's a place in Florida hurricane lore. Then 3 to 5 feet all the way down to Bonita Beach, and 1 to 3 feet all the way over to Card Sound Bridge. Dry Tortugas also 1 to 2 feet. So that is a life-threatening surge. This is surge above normally dry ground, and of course that's going to be very devastating. These areas, of course, experienced Idalia last year, Steinhatchee. All these beautiful places on the Nature Coast experienced severe flooding then, and they're going to experience it again with this hurricane. Now, the rainfall is going to be a problem. Rainfall amounts are going to be, 8 to 12 inches there across a wide area from across the Florida Big Bend, there from north of Tampa. From about Spring Hill all the way to about Carabel, really probably Carabel or St. Mark's, Sopchoppy, some of my favorite names there. But these rainfalls here over on the Georgia coast and the South Carolina coast really concern us, 12 to 16 inches. You can see lurking in there somewhere, there's some 16 to 20 inch amounts. And, of course, that's going to be devastating flooding wherever that falls. Hopefully it's out over the water. But if it's in Savannah, that's going to be trouble. If it's in Charleston, it's going to be trouble. And if this storm is able to intensify, fortunately, that more northerly track kind of helps. But in any case, there's going to be onshore flow, and we're going to have storm surge flooding on the Georgia and South Carolina coast. We'll talk about that more later today. Now, the flash flooding potential, let me just make sure you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing here. We've got a moderate risk over the next 5 days from the Florida Big Bend area across much of southern Georgia into the coastal plain of South Carolina. Now, we looked at the track there. I want you to look at the arrival time of winds, and this is going to be most likely. The most likely time of arrival of tropical storm force winds, which is really when it begins to be difficult to move around, it becomes difficult to prepare. That is going to be going up the west coast of Florida during the day today. By 8 a.m., it's already going to be, in the Fort Myers area. By 2 p.m., it'll be, past Tampa. By 8 p.m., it's going to be in Cedar Key. And then through the overnight hours, all the way to Jacksonville by 8 a.m. So this is when you can expect the earliest arrival of those tropical storm force winds. Now, it could be earlier. About the earliest it could happen would be about 8 a.m. in the Tampa area, 2 p.m. in the Cedar Key area, and so on. So that's the wind, that's the surge, and that's the rainfall. Hurricane Center key messages stress the heavy rainfall. They stress the hurricane conditions, the tropical storm force conditions, the life-threatening storm surge inundation, all the way from Arapika to Indian Pass. And so that is, really the biggest concern for sure. But storm surge, strong winds, heavy rain there from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina are going to be a big problem too. Now, let's talk GFS here, talk models. And I'm going to pull this over here so I can see it a little better while I talk to you. This is the upper pattern across North America. It's normally where we start. Got 2 tropical cyclones there. This is noon on Sunday, 1 p.m., showing one in the eastern Pacific, Carlotta, and, of course, Debby here in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Weakness there over the southern United States, mid-Atlantic. That's going to allow the hurricane to escape, perhaps. We'll have to watch and see what happens as we go through time. Ridge over the west, and you see the system coming on shore, moving inland on Monday, but ridge over the top. That's the words we never like to hear. You can see the ridge builds back across the path of the hurricane. The hurricane is the tropical storm. The remnants of this tropical cyclone are cut off and stranded. And that is never good from a rainfall standpoint. Of course, the winds are going to diminish. And you see it lingers around southern Georgia there. It makes it back to the water, Tuesday night. Wednesday intensifies again and then moves back inland. And you see the GFS brings it westward. Now, that means it could have an impact on Alabama's weather. Certainly by the end of the week, but it weakens with time into an open wave, open trough, and gets picked up by this system that really cold trough there by the second week, and that could, probably give us dry, slightly cooler weather. I don't see any really cool weather coming our way. Now, this is the surface depiction. There's this at 10 a.m. this morning, the subtropical ridge to the east, that weakness there, allowing the hurricane to make that turn to the north and now the northeast. You see it making landfall there early Monday. A few showers into southeast Alabama, probably Monday afternoon. Those are the outer bands. Don't think we'll have any tornadoes. That's not the favorable side for that, but we'll be watching just in case. We'll see what happens. You see the surface depiction sort of doing what the upper pattern was showing there. It's offshore, gives it a little time to strengthen, and now it's coming back Wednesday night, making landfall there, along just south of the Georgia-South Carolina border. That would put it somewhere around Savannah. Hopefully, this would put a lot of onshore flow into Charleston. Hopefully that won't become a big surge problem, but I fear that it will. Certainly the rainfall is going to be a big problem. Here Thursday, we're dry here, but the system is coming back to the west, to the south of Augusta, near Macon, passing south of Atlanta Thursday night. A few showers show up in east central Alabama. It's now moving to the west of Atlanta and up near Cartersville in northwest Georgia here by Thursday night. We're not getting, extensive showers. We're on the drier western side, but we're certainly getting a few there Friday night. That enhanced convergence causing some showers and thunderstorms, the weakening system moving on out. Now, second system in the Gulf of Mexico there by next Saturday. Be keeping an eye on that. The GFS thinks that it, has a chance to develop, not into anything big, but you got a tropical depression, tropical storm here heading for the middle Texas coast, probably about the same area that maybe a little west of where Beryl was, between Corpus Christi and Port O'Connor, moving into the Texas coastal plain there, and then turning northeast. Now, the good news is it kind of comes over here by Friday the 16th. I know we're deep in voodoo territory. It's going to change 1,000 times, but, some idea that it could bring us some beneficial rains at that point. Of course, we've had a lot of beneficial rains here recently. Now, here's the HRRR. I'm going to go back to 12Z this morning. You see the activity there in the southeastern Gulf of Mexico, Alabama, high and dry, looking for any sign of a shower. There's one near Eufaula by 3 p.m. today. A few scattered showers over the southern two-thirds of the state. You can see them there, Talladega, Clay, Randolph counties, down to the southeast of Montgomery. But, a little bit of convergence allowing for some showers there south of I-20, north of I-85 in the afternoon and evening today. Don't think they'll be very extensive. You see the HRRR picking up what it thinks will be a big, eye of the system. Heavy rain moving on shore. You see those first squalls are kind of moving across the nature coast late this afternoon. The eye wall moving on shore. The HRRR thinks that it's going to happen 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So, that'll be interesting to see if that's what occurs. But the system there moves up to near Valdosta. They always take a beating, they did during Hurricane Michael. They take a beating whenever we get a system in that Florida Big Bend area. And then you see as we go out toward the end of the forecast period, 6 p.m. Monday night. About the time we'll be getting ready to do weather brains. The center is there over southern Georgia with widespread rain and thunderstorms over a wide area of southeastern Georgia and the southwestern coast of South Carolina. I just wanted to show you winds here to give you kind of an idea. You see those winds starting to gust. It's going to be, today they're going to be fairly light. They'll be double digits, areas east and south of Clanton at times, but it's really going to be tonight, early Monday morning. This right here is 8 o'clock Monday morning. Winds gusting 20 to 25 miles an hour, 27 there at Dothan, 28, 29. As the center moves inland, those gusts, Birmingham, Anniston get up to about 15 to 18 miles an hour. North of there, some double-digit gusts, 10 to 15 miles an hour. Not anything special, but you'll notice a little bit there. These are highs today off the National Blend of Models, showing really about 91 to 93. Some of the normally cooler valleys there. Coleman, Western Marshall, up in Jackson County. The valleys down through DeKalb into northern Etowah, over in Clay and Randolph we could see some 80s today. These are temperatures off the national blended models off the next several days. 92 today, expect 92 again tomorrow. We'll kind of warm up, with the tropical cyclone to our east, northerly flow, subsidence, sinking air, warming. 97 on Wednesday. I can believe it. Might even be a little warmer than that. But you saw that trough, and there by the Saturday the 10th, and it's not going to be a cool wave by any stretch of the imagination. But 69, on Sunday morning the 11th, we'll take it here on August the 11th. For sure. Well, that was a video right there, a long one. How many minutes? 25 minutes. Good gracious. My Weather Channel audition. But lots to talk about. Sorry about that. We lost audio there, but that was a video for the ages 25 minutes. And a lot of fun producing it for you. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I'll have notes on the blog throughout the day today, complete updates as advisory packages and new information come in throughout the day and overnight, and landfall day tomorrow. Of course, I know you've probably noticed Jen Nairmore is helping us on the blog now, and that really has been super, especially with the severe weather on Friday. Jim will be a great addition to the team here. Scott and of course the great James Spann. James will be back with your videos tomorrow after hopefully refreshed after a great vacation. We'll do Weather Brains tomorrow night. Be talking about going back to school, advice for young meteorologists on the weekly netcast that's all about weather. Well, until I get to talk to you a week from today, as I always tell you, keep an eye to the sky because you'll always have something fun to look at.